Alright, hello everyone, Deus Legend here for Deus Legend Collects, back with another review. Today we are checking out the Classic Shills 3D Big Gold Belt here. So this will be a quick table review. Well, maybe not so quick, but no fancy intro or anything like that. We're just going to jump right into the review of the belt here and see how it looks, see what we like about it, and all that fun stuff. So let's jump right into it. Alright, now let's take a look at the Classic Shills 3D Big Gold belt here. We'll just start off with a quick overview glance at the belt here for you guys so you can see the belt in all this glory and detail here. Alright, so now we'll start at the top of the belt. Here we have the WWE logo, and we have World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion here at the top for the text letters. Then moving down, we have the florals here. And we have the 3D grapplers. And we have the crown. We have cubic zirconia stones here in the crown as well. And also the cubic zirconias for the red stones here and the conchos. And we have the globe. More of the beautiful florals there. And we have an Undertaker nameplate on this one. And moving to the side plate here, we have more of the same with the florals. We have the conchos with the red cubic zirconia stone in there. Another feature I'll point out on this belt is the etching here on the sides of the plates. Very nice. It's just like a coin or a quarter where they were able to etch that there. Very nice touch. And on the side, we have the other side plate. It's more of the same there. The grapplers on this belt, they go all in the same direction. I know that's a point of contention for some people, where the grapplers go in different directions. But it depends on which version of the 3D Big Gold you're looking at. Like, over the years, they've changed directions multiple times and different versions of the belt. So for that detail, we'll just say it's personal preference on, or maker preference on which direction they go in. But this belt is CNC milled from one block of, well, one block of zinc, where meaning that there's no relief pieces for the belt. Like, everything is etched or milled into the belt. So the crown, the globe, the grapplers, and the conchos are all one piece. They are milled into the belt, or etched, or engraved, or whatever term you want to use there. Some other makers or earlier examples of these belts had relief pieces for the crown, globe, and grapplers and conchos, but now they're able to put everything how it should be, because the original belt was all from one block of metal. So it's good that makers are able to do that now, and also more makers are able to do it. So this is something that's carried over between this Classic Shills one, the ORM, and the Altair, where they were able to get that detail in. And there will be a comparison video between this belt from Classic Shills, the ORM, and Altair. We'll compare all three versions, or maker versions of the 3D Big Gold. And that video will drop in about 2 weeks from now if you're watching this video at release. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel and keep on the lookout for that. But anyway, more details here about the belt. The main thing I love about this belt are the way the florals are, like the way they pop out, and the filler in between the different floral patterns is very nice. On a lot of other makers, especially the low end makers, where they don't have the filler between the florals, and the florals end up looking thin and sort of weird. But I will just say now, before we even get to that comparison video, the Classic Shills version of this belt, in terms of the florals, is the nicest out of all the makers that I've seen. Like, no maker has been able to nail these florals as much as Classic Shills has, and I commend them for that. Like, no other maker has been able to get that correct filler between the florals, and hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, it's sort of hard to describe here, but you can see between where the 3D elements, where it pops up the most, like the flatter regions in between, like you see in between these two here, you can see that filler comes up just to the right level where it should, where other makers will have that filler like all the way down, and the floral patterns will end up looking sort of thin and weird looking. But Classic Shills has nailed that, where it seems like the florals are like all one big piece of floral going on. Like, again, it's sort of hard to explain. You just sort of have to see it. And you'll be able to see this detail more when we do the ultimate comparison video between the three makers, where what I'm talking about sort of sticks out more on other belts. But anyway, so we take a look at the grapplers here. It's not much detail on them, honestly, but again, honestly, I believe that's the way they should be on the original JMar version of this belt, where they were sort of just blobs where you couldn't see much detail on the grapplers there. So yeah, the Crumb Run, the actual Crumb Run, will have more detailed grapplers where you can see like the singlets, you can see the shoes, you can see the hair and all that stuff on the Crumb Run. Versus the 3D Bit Gold, they're more blobby. Then we'll take a look at the crown here. Very nice crown that Classic Shills did here. And the globe, their globe is very nice as well. Fairly accurate to the original JMar version, I would say this globe is. And the crown, for that matter, is also fairly accurate, I would say. The Undertaker nameplate here is plated with 24 karat. Now, there's different ways you can do the nameplate, where you can have it more bare metal look, sort of the way RM does it, or you can have it, you know, plated in gold, like what most makers do. Real life versions, no, real ring used versions had Lexan nameplates later in the 3D Bit Gold run. But again, personal preference on how you would like it or how the maker does it. That's pretty much how the nameplate will be. And again, one of my favorite features is the etching or engraving going around the border of the belt there. And like, you do that nice sound there where it sounds like a quarter or some kind of coin, depending on what country you're in. And also we have a nice curve on the side plates and for the main plate. Very nice curve. Now the curve could be something of contention as well for some people. Some people like a flatter curve. Some people like a more deep pronounced curve. That's just a personal preference. The way Classic Shills have it curved here is pretty nice. I can almost get my large hand under the belt here. Other normal people can get their hand under there, but whatever. But very nice curve. We have the camera flat on the table here, so you can see the nice curves there. So yeah, very nice. Now let's take a look at the leather. We have the typical JMar style leather here, where we have the JMar stamp, JMar style snap boxes, and we have the shell tooling going around the border the perimeter of the belt. Very nice. Then we have the J-Mar style texturing here in the snap box. Here we have the actual like the Scott Steiners here that J-Mar would use, or Scott Steiner like looking stamps there. Snap count, we have 2x5 on each side, and that's the way the belt originally came, 2x5 on each side. Later versions of the belts had 2x5 on the female side and like 2x8 on the male side over here. So that detail changed over time, and that's something, again, that's personal preference. And then we have the backing here. It's just a plain black. The original belt had the plain black leather backing. Later versions had the red croc backing, which is actually my personal favorite way to get this belt done, and that way is done on my Altair belt. But the plain black is nice as well, as Classic Shields does an amazing job with their leather here. Leather cut is nice and thick and rigid, and it supports the weight of the plates very well. Amazingly well, I should add. This is some of the thickest and best grain of leather that I've seen out of Pakistan. You won't be disappointed with the leather here, and also it's sealed going around the edges here. That's something that's pretty standard for Classic Shields, is to seal the edges going around the edge of the belts here. And I would say a lot of the lower end makers, they are starting to seal the edges on their leather, so it's making it a little bit better. Although sealing the edges wasn't something that was done on, like, from the original makers like Reggie Parks, Milliken, or J-Mar. They didn't seal the edges on a lot of their belts, or most of their belts, we should say. But it is something that's nice to add. It's just seal those edges, and it just adds to the overall feel and quality of the belt. But the feel of this leather is very, very high quality feeling. It's not cheap feeling thin leather or anything like that. It's nice and thick. It is floppy as well, so you're getting both the thickness, the rigid feel, and you're getting the floppy all in one package here. And the leather on my belt is very broken in as well, so that's also nice, because when you get new leather, it's not so floppy and everything like that. You have to break it in and work it in, things like that. So mine is pretty broken in, and that's fine, because over time it's gonna get broken in anyway. It's not gonna look new forever. But yeah, again, the leather is nice. You're not gonna be disappointed with that from Classic Shields. And we take a look at the other side here. Again, we have more of the same on the other side. We have the shell tooling going around the border, perimeter of the belt. We have the J-Mar stamp there that J-Mar used on a lot of his belts. So we get this moved over. There we go. We have this other side of the strap here. 24 karat gold snaps. That's very standard for Classic Shields as well. A lot of lower end makers, they are starting to move to 24 karat snaps, even though they should have done that from the start, but I digress. And we have the Classic Shields stamp there. And also the Scott Steiner stamps there. Like, this image is supposed to be Scott Steiner, and it's sort of hard to come out on camera, but those stamps are pretty nice as well. But anyway, overall, this belt is nice, and it is a very nice representation of the 3D bit gold from the Ruthless Aggression era. And for an overall package, this belt, if we were to compare between the other makers, which we will do again, there'll be a video dropping in a few weeks with me comparing this belt with the ORM and the Altair as well. But overall, looking at this belt, I would say it's probably the closest to the original J-Mar version out there. versus the other two makers, and definitely over any other makers that's not Classic Shields, Alter, or ORM. Those three are top notch for pretty much every belt they make, and this 3D Big Gold is no exception to their quality, and it's a reason why people pay the prices they pay for those three makers. Other makers, they make a decent belt, but it's not going to be nowhere near as accurate or even close to accurate to how the belt should be. But again, an overall feel and everything of this belt is, I feel like it's the closest to the original J-Mar CNC version of this belt that Triple H debuted. And yeah. Another thing I'll point out, the weight of this belt is pretty good. I will say that it does weigh slightly more than the ORM or the Altair version, and no, that's good or bad depending on how you want to look at it, but it's not 20 pounds. I would say this belt weighs about 9 to 10 pounds versus the Altair and the ORM weigh about 8 or 9 pounds, so it's like a pound difference. And that mostly comes from, I believe, the plate thickness is a little bit thicker on the CS versus the other two makers, but again, we will get into that when we do the comparison video. Just something I would like to point out here. But yeah, again, overall, this belt is very nice. It is very accurate to the original, just looking at the pictures. I know a lot of people like to throw around the terms ring accurate and all that, TV accurate, all that stuff like that, but that's very hard to judge when you have never held the original versions of the belt. We can only go by low resolution pictures that we get online and videos and stuff like that. But overall, using the things we have at our disposal, again, this belt is the best representation of the 3D Big Gold, and I give Classic Shields their props on that. They really pretty much nailed this belt. I will say some things that they can probably improve on is, I believe the height of the letters here on the belt should be a little bit higher. They should go above the florals there, but that would be pretty much the only thing I would nitpick. Like the shape of the belt, the shape of the plates, shape of the main plate, all that stuff is really nice. And like I said earlier, the filler between the florals is really nice as well. Also something they can improve on, like there should be 2 different filler levels between over by the crown and globe area and letters versus here by the grapplers, where the grapplers should be a deeper hole there or fill, versus over here around the crown, it should be, the fill level should be a little bit higher. I'm sure that's something they can adjust easily. I feel like the fill around the letters is pretty good. Between the letters and the florals, like that defining region is pretty nice as well and accurate. But yeah, so like with most belts from makers, there's always something that can be improved on or something that can be done better. But again, overall, compared to all the other makers, this Classic Shields is the best version of this belt. And we'll see that more in detail when we do the comparison once again. But anyway, we'll take one more quick glance at the full belt here. But yeah, so that was our look and review at the Classic Shields 3D Big Gold belt here on the channel. Again, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, as I have other belt videos and reviews on the channel. And also make sure you are here when we do the ultimate comparison between the 3 top makers to see who did it better for certain aspects. Also, make sure you are liking the video too. That goes a long way in helping me out. And if you're into gaming, be sure to check out my gaming channel, Deus Legend XBLN, and follow me on all the social media platforms Link to all that stuff will be in the description below. But anyway, this has been Deus Legend. Again, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.